everyone, and welcome to this week's video. This week we've got an absolute treat. Club President Taylor Battistella's on. Action-packed video this week in our new format. Later on, we're going to get opinions and thoughts from Shady. He's back. We're doing our match preview and review of last game. But first of all, before we get there, we're going to have a quick interview with Club President, as I said, Taylor Battistella. How are you going, Taylor?
I'm great, thanks, Luke. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to be on the famous Milan Club Melbourne podcast finally. Got called up to be.
It's great to have you on. We've been trying to hunt you down for a long time. Obviously, you were stuck in Italy for a while and time zones didn't work, but we've got you on. We've secured the big name, so great to have you on.
Biggest name of Milan. Exactly.
All right, well, we'll start off with the easy question and then we'll get harder as we go. Easy question. Tell us a bit about the reason why, one, you support the club, how that came about, and tell us a bit about that.
My story's not as interesting as like Liz, who's one of our members, and also Steph. I remember listening to their podcast. To be honest, I've got Italian heritage from northern Italy, Veneto area. It's not really a team there. My cousins go for Milan. And when I was little, a couple of them had visited us and happened to be those cousins who did go for Milan. There's also Juve cousins, God forbid, but I chose Milan. I just stuck with them. It's sort of been a way for me to like embrace my Italian heritage. I've always wanted to live in Italy and I finally got to do that last year. I was living there for 15 months, COVID and whatnot delayed my return, but I've always just embraced the Italian side and I've just stuck with it. And it progressed to me watching games in bed when there was no games on TV, on my phone, with just watching the commentary. And then the commentary got cut and I was just watching literally the goal notification. I got up at 3 a.m. when I was like 12 years old to do it. And then we finally got some TV rights. And it's an interesting journey, but we've got beIN Sports now, which is great. It was Setanta Sports once, but.
It's interesting that pretty much every single person that has come on and that we've spoken to, their childhood memory is like struggling to watch games and trying to find a way. So it's like that. It's like this story of hardship that everyone has from when they were younger.
Exactly. And it's great. We're from the Italian league. We're an Italian club and we're the best league in the world. And we're not like everyone else in England. We're the best.
That's true. Underrated. I'm definitely going to say the Serie A. I think definitely in Melbourne, we've said it before that for some stupid reason, people are EPL obsessed. Even in fact, I don't know why. It's crazy. But
today, the Serie A won an award as the best league in the world for the past 12 months. So,
and I saw recently, even though Milan wasn't in it, the Inter-Juve match, even though we hate them both, got I think 6 times more the views of the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's people love it. It's genuinely a worldwide sport league that people care about. So I think that attention's slowly starting to come to Melbourne. Before we get on
what do you reckon about this podcast? When's it going to hit like viewership of the Super Bowl? Next year, I reckon, at this rate.
I think after this video, probably. I think you're just the name that people have been waiting for. I mean, exactly. Michael Zaproni probably wouldn't like to hear that. But I think people have just been waiting for Taylor Battistella. We've had lots of questions. People have been writing in, but we've finally got the big fish. Going back to your childhood watching Milan, who do you think your top 3 players growing up were?
Like I said, it was pretty hard to watch games growing up. Obviously, Maldini, just watching him, not watching him, just what's associated with him. He is AC Milan. I'm not going to be a flog and say, but AC and all these players like Van Basten, even though they're really big for the club because they were playing for the club before I was even born. So I recognise they're great. But even like the dark periods of Milan, I know I'm going to get criticism for saying, but people like Balotelli brought a lot of light in times of hardship when we weren't signing anyone. I remember the first time I was in Milan watching games, like Balotelli got that free kick at Livorno, even though it was 2-2 in the end. Like those players brought hope. Ibra, I was there for his return last year now, early last year. They've just got really big auras about them. I'm sure I saw some of the legends towards the end of their career when I was in Milan for the first time, but it's not like they were the talk of the town like Ibra is today. Theo's pretty cool. He's doing a really good job. And I think watching Gigio, but watching, like, to see that he's played 221 games or something at 21 years old, he's clearly, he's going to break, like, he's already breaking records, but we're watching something pretty special in the making, and please, can we keep him?
I think our generation's probably a bit different. That you're right, that we've unfortunately copped a lot of the dark period. And that probably you're right that our favourite players are just starting their journey at Milan. So who knows, the Van Basten and Baresi types could be just beginning, the Teos, even Romagnoli is a bit older, but all of them. So let's hope. Going back to you being in Milan, stuck in Milan for all those months, obviously went to a few games. I mean, we went to one together, the Derby. We won't speak about the scoreline, but it was still a great game. What do you think the best live experience, Milan experience you had across your trips was?
There's no game in particular that could stand out. It was a great moment, especially when we were leading at the Derby 2-0 at halftime last year. However, it ended up being 3-2, 4-2 or something crazy. Everyone at halftime couldn't believe it. A bit like us right now this season. No one believes what we're doing, but we're doing it. We're just waiting to fall short. I guess the Derby was the same. My first game was pretty cool against Livorno, even though it was away. We impromptu went there when we were in Firenze as a family. And I went to Roma and another Inter game. I've been to a few derbies now. It was pretty cool with you, and just going to the San Siro week in, week out, meeting like people from the Milan Club Dublin and Bordighera, just clubs from around Italy, was a pretty cool experience. So it's just being what a Milan fan is, and actually having the opportunity to live there and live and breathe Milan every week, rather than getting up at 3 a.m. watching it by yourself.
It's a funny thing when you get over there and you get to the wherever, the Duomo or whatever, even San Siro, and that moment of realization that, like, crap, we're not just like this tiny little thing that sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. to watch. Like, there are supporter clubs like Milan Club Melbourne all around the world that are huge, that are equally as passionate as us. And then plus on top of that, all of the obviously local support. It's genuinely crazy to think about.
And even coming from Melbourne and understand the situation everyone's in, when you're there, you're almost forgetting about it because it's so detached. But the people that you do see that are active and that are talking, you really admire them, and they do raise your eyebrows, because for them to be watching the game at 3 a.m. when you just think about your own day when you're in Milan, it's just like, I've been to work, I've been to university, I've been to see my friends, and I'm just going to the game. I think these guys are literally getting up, even though I did the same when I'm in Melbourne. It's just bizarre. So the Milan Melbourne fans are the best in the world, without a doubt, especially the past 10 years that we've gone through.
Absolutely. I mean, really, thank God things have changed, but a lot of people have stuck around pretty passionately. So, yeah, the people that have been coming to our events over the years, I mean, it probably speaks a lot about them that they've stuck true and still care a lot about the team, because there are probably some early mornings that we're watching that probably we almost knew the result before we got to watch it, but we still rocked up. And it's honestly, sometimes you just go to be with the people that are part of the club, amazing people, you meet new people. And even back then when things weren't going our way, it was just great to be with other Milan passionate supporters. So yeah, I guess that kind of leads into the next thing, which is the Milan Club Melbourne. Obviously you're the founder and president of our club. So I guess starting off where it all started, if you can just tell us a bit about that and how the club came to fruition, I guess.
Wow, where do I start? Basically, I'm a big Milan fan. I never knew any other Milan fans. Like we were saying earlier, everyone here is English Premier League flogs. You don't even know what they're supporting or why they're supporting the team that they do. They've got no connection to the team. I won't mince my words. I think they truly are. They've got no reason to support the teams they do. We do. We're Italians and we like Milan. And it was frustrating. And in 2017, when I was in Italy, I was like, that was actually made a bit of hope. But like, we got new owners. Berlusconi's been screwing us over for a long time. we're signing some players. We just signed Bonucci. Like, Milan's like the biggest team in the world, one of the most successful. Melbourne's got got the biggest Italian community in Australia. It's got Lygon Street, Centre for Italian Activity in Melbourne. Like, why is there not a club? So with the use of social media, message around some people, and we got it started. And the club has changed a lot since then. And it was great starting that time, optimism, but obviously we've had hard times again since then. But it's got a second sense of life since we've had this recent jump. And we're hoping to really make sure now that we can build that community so that whatever happens in the future, we've got that Milan-Melbourne community of Italians and Milan fans in Melbourne, so that we're connected and continue to be.
Yeah. And I think whilst we do, things like this, the video, the podcast, not live events, well, video events for lockdown that helped us through, really the most important part of the club is just connecting all of those the never formed connections between all of the Milan supporters in Melbourne, whether they've been here for 2 days, literally some of the people that have come to our events, or have been 60, 70, 80 and have never watched a Milan game with proper community. Yeah, I think it's pretty special. Speaking of which, yeah.
It's true. It's correct. Like, we've got members from around the world. We've got a social media admin and guy that's leading the team, Bjarne in Malta. We're having all these Italian members. We've got guys that have stuck with us from the start, like Steph, Anthony. The fact that they've shown us that trust and faith and actually built the club, and we've got our great sponsors, Daniel, Liz, and Alex, and to be able to do that, it really helps us grow and build that community because of the faith that they've shown in us. So it's really great and exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think everyone part of the club is genuinely passionate, obviously passionate about Milan, and too passionate about trying to build somewhat of a movement in Melbourne. And we're starting to see that, and it's really exciting. And certainly, definitely coming out of lockdown now that things are kind of picking up for us again in Melbourne, it's very exciting. On that, I think some pretty cool news about us going forward. What can you tell us about what's happening at the club in the future?
Well, we've got a few new changes. We've got a new venue. Noddy's was great in the city in Lygon Street. We sort of outgrew it though, so we found this new venue called Miss Frankie. It's a pretty cool, trendy Italian restaurant. It is a restaurant aperitivo place. It's at the moment in Cremorne, Richmond, just opposite Richmond Station. And it's great. They want to be the centre for Italian culture in Melbourne, so that they need to engage with the Italian community. We are the Italian community. We're the Milan Club Melbourne. We're from Milan. We're not from Torino. We're from Milan, the centre of Italy, pretty much, with Rome. A bit different. And they're going to actually open a new flagship restaurant in Lygon Street. And we're going to move there with them in May-ish. And it's got great food. They've got a projector. They've got TVs. They want to work with us. We're going to set up meal deals with the members. We're going to really work with them going forward. Even if they are Juve fans, they've chosen to work with us. So it's going to be awesome. We're really excited about it. Beyond that, we've got shirts. Hope you like it. Shirts are the thing that all the members want and they like. We keep making scarves no, we want shirts. So we've been doing a pre-order campaign at the moment. Everyone's got the opportunity to get a shirt, and in some cases 25% off, depending on the shirt style that you want. You can get them on our site. That just helps us with the pre-ordering. Means that we can get all the numbers. Kids want shirts. We can't order kid size because it's too uncertain. So it gives them the chance to order them. We've already sold close to 40. And when we hit that 40th sale, we're going to put the order in. We'll order some extras as well, of course. But the price will go back to the normal price. So the shirts at the moment, and we've got the new venue. And we're still looking to do new things. Our sponsors are really helping us. Daniel's put in $100 Rebel Sport voucher from Arc Studios, Architecture. And Alex from Statewide Spotters, he's put in a new Milan scarf, and that's going to be in the raffle. The major prize, however, being the signed Ibrahimovic jersey. So that's pretty cool, and we'll draw that at the first event at the new venue, which we hope will be against Sampdoria at 9:30 p.m., which will be led off by a dinner.
I got to say that I mean, we've had some pretty big events in the past, but this Sampdoria match event is I've been looking forward to it the second that we started talking about it a little while back.
It's not official yet. We've got to like publish it. But if you're listening to this, you heard it here first, guys. We're doing an event against Sam.
If you're listening and watching this, you're the real, true, passionate supporter of us. So you deserve to hear this insider content.
Don't tell anyone else.
Yeah, it's nice and secret. But yeah, that signed Ibrahimovic jersey. Oh, prized possession.
It was a bit of God's work I was doing in Milan to get that, so I'm excited to have it. Hopefully, one of our good members who's listening to this wins it. Speaking
of which, this jersey right here was the last jersey that we auctioned off, and I happened to win. So
it wasn't rigged, guys. Luke wasn't here on the committee at that stage. So.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
You've got a pretty good chance of winning the raffles if you enter them.
It was my first ever event. I didn't know any. Oh well, I knew you obviously, but I met everyone and bought a ticket. I think I bought 3 tickets and somehow picked it up. So buy tickets because dreams do come true. You could be.
You can get them on the website already if you can't make the event. Definitely.
Yeah. It all starts with that. You'll win the Ibrahimovic jersey, and then you'll end up on the committee making videos every week. So enjoy. It's all part of the journey. I guess still staying on the club. What are our kind of like long-term goals? I guess like what do we want out of this as a club? What's the club's goal?
We want to have a clubhouse one day that's actually like the centre of the Milan Club now. It's pretty ambitious. We're probably not going to get there in the short term, but along the way, we've got to build our community. And we want to make sure that we're hosting as many good events that we can. It's all about match day experiences. And to do that and to improve that, we want to be known around the world so that people are actually coming to our events. They trust us as Milan Club Melbourne. And that's why we try and be as active as we can on social media. And that's why we've got admins from outside of Melbourne on the team. Very few, open to more, definitely. We're always looking for new admins. But it's a bit of a web of connected things. But the main thing is serving our members on match day. We want to have really awesome, cool events. Now, obviously, there's only so much we can do with badly scheduled events or times from City R. We feel we're a bit more organised than the actual City R League. But we're doing as well as we can. And the team's results in the field and having that new venue is really going to help us. But hopefully the game against Sampdoria, we're still going strong because it's going to be very exciting if we are. So, yeah, we want to just keep making the events as strong as possible. Hosting tournaments like the Melbourne Italian Fan Clubs Cup, which we start annually. We won the first edition, Juve won the second, but we needed more members. So we're only as good as all our members.
Exactly, and I think it's been a learning experience for the club as well. There might have been a few things a few years ago that we might change, but that's just part of it. We're literally we work around what the members say. We love it when members come to us with things that we should change because we actually do genuinely care. We always say it. We do this club for members and supporters in Melbourne and across the world. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely think exciting times to come for the club. So yeah, a call out to everyone in Melbourne and across the world, get involved.
Exactly.
So moving away from the Melbourne club for a bit and going back over to Milan, how do you think this current team is going to go this season? Do you think the Scudetto is a real possibility? Where do you see this team placed going forward?
Well, look, right. I've been calling members of the club in this past couple of weeks and asking them what they think. Every single member has said, "Oh, we're not going to win the Scudetto, top 4, I'll be happy." What do you mean? We're on top of the table. We've played every single team. Every team's played each other. Even if we lose this weekend, we're still on top of the table. And people are saying we can't win. You got to aim for the moon. If you miss, you hit the stars. Because we're Milan. Juventus isn't going to win the title. And if they're not going to win it, who else is? And we're going to do it. So if we miss it, okay. But you got to have the ambition to win. If you don't have the ambition to win, you're not even going to get near it. And that's the way that they're taking to the field every game. You tell Ibrahimovic they're not going to win the Scudetto and walk out of that room alive. So I think you can see And it's pretty easy if you've got eyes to see, because we're dominating every game that we play. And we've lost one game and we're severely undermanned. And it was quite out of character. So we're doing a pretty good job, I think. And if all these players get COVID once, they're probably not going to get it a second time anytime soon. So hopefully the COVID, how do we say it? The COVID injuries or time periods out, stop.
Yeah. I think almost equally as satisfying as seeing the team up and about and on top is seeing Conte's Inter, those clowns trying to catch us, spending all the money in the world. It seems like that club's falling apart around them, and we're just like that. I don't know what it's like. What's a good analogy? Like that.
One in the side, maybe.
Stone in the pebble in the shoe. That's just like annoying them constantly in their minds. Purely is just always in their heads. Zlatan's in their heads. And who knows? They might be coming to us, but it looks like, as you said, we're going for everything, and I don't know if they will catch us, to be honest.
And I don't know why. They've got this sense of entitlement. They think that they're better than us, and they have thought it for the past 5 years. And you look at them and you're like, what have you guys actually done? You haven't done anything. We have won a title more recently than them. We won the Super Copper. So I don't know what game they're trying to play, but they got to prove something as much as we do. And Conte's coaching for his life, and Inter crack under pressure. So we don't. We get better in the second half of seasons. We're Milan. We win the Champions League. Like, they win leagues that they shouldn't have won. So both teams are no.
In all seriousness, a lot of people have forgotten, but we're supporters of Milan. It's like we're talking about a club that is, in my opinion, it should be up there with like the Barcelonas and all of these types. It's like it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world, or it should be. So why not Scudetto?
Correct. And as a fan club, it's our job to hold the club accountable in a way. And if we're not ambitious and we let the club get away with things that they shouldn't be doing, they're going to, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And it's probably a very common thing in Italy. And we've got to hold them accountable. If they're signing silly players, they're wasting money, they're not aiming to be the best, it's not good enough. And we're doing it now. We're showing a bit of ambition. Maldini hasn't put a foot wrong, honestly. And I think that whole drama last winter in Italy, summer in Australia with Ragnick and Gazidis, the most frustrating thing there was how it was all happening undercover and the lack of trust above all things. But Maldini's done a really good job, and perhaps what he did went thankless, but he really helped as well in putting his foot down and setting a standard to go forward with.
And even, I mean, there's a lot of people, some people say it's all Zlatan, others say it's Maldini. There's a lot. Michael Zapponi last video said Pioli. Like, there's a lot of reasons why this club is doing well at the moment. It's not just one. It's not luck. This is like a genuine thing that's going on right now. It's serious. Yeah. So I think purely the Ragnick decision was, I mean, so far it's definitely been right. They backed Pioli in, and the players backed him in, and from what we've seen, everything's gone the way he wants it to, or he's adjusted, and they've made it through this injury crisis and COVID crisis. So they haven't put a foot wrong since that decision was made. Anyway, so Scudetto this season, Champions League next season.
Treble next season. Scudetto this season, treble next season.
The one thing I should mention is, obviously it happened this week, Mandzukic was signed. What do we think?
No, I think as long as there's no pressure expectations on an older player, it's great for depth and experience. It's interesting that we're getting the older experienced strikers. It's a good sign that Gazidis isn't being as rigid as initially. I think he's actually seeing the value that Ibra's added to the team. Yes, Ibra might have a wage of whatever he has, but you can't tell me the team's value hasn't improved by more. Like, some of those players have increased their value by 20 million euros, or like 5 times what they were bought for, or whatever. Like, I think he's actually realizing from an economic sense, it's a mix of balance and experience. And Mandzukic from a sporting side, I think you can't go wrong. It's a very low risk decision, and you play him in the Europa League at worst, and he should do a good job. So I think it will be good.
Yeah, I agree. And let's hope that curse is broken.
Mm.
He's gonna break it.
If that's all he does, that's great.
Yeah, set it up for the next player. Well, I guess that kind of brings us to an end of things. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Taylor, and hopefully not so long until you're on the second video podcast.
Very, very happy to have come on. And I'll just say one thing to the Inter fans: if you're not happy with what I said, share this, and we'll get more views, and we'll be even happier. If you're happy with what we said, good work. That's why you're an Inter fan. So, buona giornata a tutti.
A provocative end. There's gonna be like a few like scandal type things that come out of this video that will make it go viral. All right. Well, thanks for coming on again. It's been great as always. Forza Milan, and let's see us get up this weekend.
Yeah. Speak to you after we beat an Atalanta.
All right, everyone. Exciting news is that we've got Shady back this week. You're back, Shady. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good to be back. Hi, Luke. How are you going?
I'm well. I'm very well. Pumped after a nice win. Still on top of the table.
Another week, another win. That's how it be.
Exactly. What did you think of the game?
It was pretty smooth overall. Good to see we're back on the score sheet. Yeah, business as usual. And that's what you love to see it. You love to see it. The hallmark of a team of champions, isn't it? Just churning out those wins, and hopefully more to come.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite things about this season is that these smaller games that maybe in past seasons we'd be a bit concerned about just don't seem to be a problem anymore. I mean, hopefully, touch wood, but hopefully it stays like that. But they really haven't been a problem this year. We always kind of talk about things that could happen and players from their team that could strike against us. But you're right, we're kind of just knocking them all off somewhat easily. Particularly in this game. I think that last game was pretty comfortable.
It was a smooth one, yeah, smooth sailing. And again, we want more of that. I think that's the Scudetti winning Milan sides I've seen in the past 20 years or so have always been able to, just week in, week out do that, and it's good. It's good stability. It gives it. There's no downside to it. It's brilliant. So we need more of that. We've got some reinforcements coming in. It's good to see. It's a good time to be a Milan fan after about a decade, or the best part of a decade of being in our quote unquote banter year. I think it's a good time to be a Milan fan. Can't complain.
Yeah. And VAR went our way.
Yeah, I'll say
Good to see.
Because it was such a lovely through ball in by Calabria anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was almost the same to rule it out if it were offside. But no, good to see that happening. That's one that in previous seasons definitely would have been called off.
Yeah, and I mean, we say it pretty much every single video, but I still absolutely love, and maybe Tonelli's a bit more recent, but I love players like Tonelli and Calabria that are really kind of proving themselves week in, week out as solid, reliable players. It's just been I think that's been a big change in the team this season, that these younger players have really stepped up and are showing it week in, week out.
Yeah, I think Calabria's redemption has been, for me, one of the highlights of the season. Being homegrown talent, I think most of us have a soft spot for Davide Calabria. But let's be honest, he last season and season before, he wasn't at his best, unfortunately. And the way that he's just like really, really gone at it, even from the preseason when we had those friendlies, he was like scoring like these screamers from outside the area in the preseason. it seemed like he had like a mission. He was like a man on a mission this season, and long may that continue. It's brilliant. You love to see it.
Absolutely. I guess the downside to Calabria having such a fantastic season is that Conte might have played his last game at Milan. I've seen reports saying that he's gonna be shipped off to Parma, and
he's already signed there. Yeah. So it's a done deal.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre Conte was potentially one of the most exciting right backs, right wing back even that we could have. He's just so unlucky with. He's an amazing player. He was just very unlucky with injuries. Personally, that's what I believe. I think he was just unlucky with injuries. So much potential, and he showed glimpses of it with us. But then, whenever he started to get on that trajectory, upward trajectory, it would be like a massive injury.
Yeah,
and we're not talking about like some, pulling a hamstring or something. It was always like the cruciate ligament. It was always something crazy.
Yeah.
So I wish him all the best, obviously. And but I guess Calabria is a good spell of form. Just spell the end for Conte, I guess.
Hey, you spoke about a few new reinforcements coming in. What did you think of, and hopefully I say it right, Miete coming in and playing his first game pretty quickly after signing for Milan?
Yeah, he looks good on the ball. He looks like he's been playing with us for a while, and I like that. Yeah. I think it's the hallmark of like a versatile player that you could just throw him in, and he knows what's expected of him. So he looks good. It's too early, but promising, definitely promising. I'll be the first to admit I didn't know too much about him before we signed him. I knew he played for Torino, obviously, but I hadn't seen too much of him in action. So I didn't really have that strong an opinion on him, but he looks good on the ball. Very promising. Hopefully that continues. And some really, Mete was good. And really good news about Mandzukic. What do you think about him? It's like
exciting. I mean, it's good to have another. I mean, Zlatan said it as well. Have another imposing, experienced player in the team. And I think particularly in the second half of the season, he's going to be invaluable. I mean, even really, if we want to do anything in Europe as well, even though it's just Europa, I mean, is there anyone better?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably kills like Colombo's chances.
Yeah.
But I guess as a short-term solution, it's not a bad idea. And like you're saying, we're getting into the business end of the season.
Yeah.
Important games thick and fast. Yeah, it's good to have that. It's good to have that option. If Ibra gets injured again, any COVID, whatever, suspension, you name it. It's good to have like that kind of solid backup, and I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah.
So it's good. And I think we're very close to sealing the deal for that Chelsea defender tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently Maldini's trying to squeeze it through potentially before Atalanta. Apparently it might be a little bit too difficult, but yeah, I mean, it is a bit different for us, I think, to see that all of these signings, mid-season signings, they're very clearly kind of patch jobs to try and get us through and finish the season off like we've started. Which is, I think, quite different to Milan over the past few years. That we're, at the moment, we're kind of limping through a little bit. And hopefully, I mean, we haven't really fallen over too much. But hopefully these new players that come in can just give us that little burst of energy that can get us to the end of the season.
Exactly, that little push. And to be honest, again, the position we're in right now, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy with what we've got and what we're doing and what we continue to do. So it's good. Yeah, and it's good we've acted. We haven't just sit and said, you know what, it's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
We didn't stick our heads in the sand, and I like that. We were proactive. We acted on it. So good. I agree with you. It's not long term. It's all like Patrick. I agree with you in that aspect. But definitely, I think to do something is better than to do nothing. So yeah, looking good. And sorry, no, you're going to say something. Go for it.
And I was going to say, we love Zlatan. He's probably a lot of our favourite player on the team. But we've seen that his body sometimes I mean, he's not a 25-year-old anymore. I mean, for a 40-year-old, 39-year-old, he's better than anyone. But it's good to have a solid person that can step in and be reliable. That we don't have that problem that we've had over the last few weeks of what do we do when he's not playing.
Exactly. Tried and tested. He's played at the highest level. He's won everything. I mean, pretty much everything at least. International, club, football, you name it. He's done it. He's proven himself.
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything to prove really other than to really prove that he can still do it, which is a good thing for us. He's got that hunger. And naturally speaking, he's one of those players with that grinta on the pitch. He's a clutch player. Big games, he'll show up. He'll score a worldie or two when needed. So, I mean, what is there not to like or love?
I'll never forget that bicycle kick in the Champions League final.
Yeah, I mean, I might remember it for the wrong reasons. I wasn't too happy with it, but it was a great goal. Let's be honest, it was an amazing goal.
Hey,
Real Madrid won in the end.
Is he going to finally break the curse?
I think so.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think he's the number 9 that. I think he's got that attitude and the experience. I think he might just be able to. So we'll see. Let's hope so.
I would love to kind of have him own it. That he's going to be the one that's going to break the curse, be proud of it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't see him lasting with us for more than a couple of seasons. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see him like maybe this season and next season. Maybe just that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But here's hoping he breaks the curse at least. Now, moving forward, speaking of like big games, this is as big as it gets. I mean, Atalanta, I know, admittedly aren't. I mean, breathing down our necks, they're 6th, but we all know what they're capable of. We all know what they did to us last season. We all know how dangerous they can be on their day. How do you see this one?
It's huge. They're 9 games unbeaten. We know that they're an imposing team. They're offensively, they're scary. They can be very scary. We know they've had their problems throughout the season, but I think Gasparini knows what he's doing. He's a pretty good manager from what we've seen. So, yeah, it's a massive one. We've said this so many times throughout the season, but this is genuinely massive. And you get the feel that if we win this one, then it's actually like the Scudetto is a serious, serious possibility in my mind.
It's a possibility. Yeah, it's looking more and more like us and Inter, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We need the win. I agree. I agree with you. They had a few blips, but I think they're starting to, find their feet. They're so dangerous on the ball. I mean, players like Ilicic they just have they can. There's no point actually in trying to pinpoint or name just one player. As a team, the way they attack, the way they play, anyone can hit you. So you don't know where it's going to come from. I think you just have to outscore them.
Yeah, which is interesting because defensively, I would say at the moment we're one of the better teams in the Serie A. Offensively, we know what they can do. So it's going to be a big clash of the two lines coming together. Hopefully, Zlatan and our offensive team can provide something up forward. But yeah, that's going to be, I think, the biggest matchup for us. Whether our defensive lines can hold them back.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. It's a good point, and I think with the Romagnoli missing as well, it'll be even more important. So hopefully, Kier will be able to make it. I know there are question marks because he was pulled off in Cagliari. So, but hopefully, it seems like he'll be able to make it. So it's looking like Kier and potentially Kalulu again, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and I mean, Kalulu, as inexperienced as he is, he's proven himself at pretty much every opportunity he's had. So this is a big one for him, and we'd love to see him take it with both hands and make the most of it, I think.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And we also had that boost yesterday with the club announcing that Theo, Rebic, and Krunic were all good and back in training. Yeah, so really good. So I thought that was like, okay, this is the kind of boost, this is the kind of news we want to hear. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I agree with you. I think Ibra is going to be up for it as well. I think we should have a good game. And I think we'll just squeeze it. I mean, I don't think it'll be a comfortable win, but I think we will win.
Yeah.
So what are you predicting?
I would say that most people would be expecting a goal on each side. Or at least, yeah, I think there's going to be goals. So I'm going to say 2-1. I think Gigi's in pretty good form. So good luck to them. And our defensive line, as I said, are pretty good form as well. Hopefully Kalulu steps up. But yeah, good luck to them if they want to get through Gigi's hands. So yeah, 2-1, I'll say. What about you, Shady?
I'm going to go for 3-2. Again, tight win, 1 goal difference. 3-2. And end-to-end stuff. We'll be up 3-1, and then they'll score a late second goal, and it'll be a nerve-wracking 5 minutes in the end. But we'll get there. That's my 2 cents.
Well, 4 a.m. Sunday morning for us Melburnians.
Yep, not the best time in the world, but yeah, the things we do for this club. Yeah.
Exactly. We'll be up watching, and hopefully Inter will stumble and we'll get the 6 points up.
Yep. Here's hope. Sweet.
All right.
Always good talking, man. It's good to be back. I missed it last week. It was good.
I know. Hopefully,
an amazing job. Yeah.
It looks like Liz got a bit comfortable. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's good. She'll
good
come
on
back
for
soon, I
stepping
think.
in last minute, and you did a great job with Michael Zippon. It was really good to have him on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. All right. Well, as always, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.
Yes.
God.